We're going to tackle one of the biggest problems in modern work, and that's the feeling of being constantly, ridiculously busy, but getting absolutely nothing done. We're going to break down why your focus feels so scattered and give you a protocol to rebuild it from the ground up. And look, this isn't about more willpower. It's about changing the entire system you operate on. Let's get into it.
I mean, does this question just hit you right where you live? You know that feeling you get to the end of a long day, you know you were busy, you were answering emails, you're jumping between 10 different things, but deep down you know you didn't really move the needle on what truly matters? You're not alone, I promise. That feeling, it's a symptom of a broken system, not a broken you.
So what's really going on here? Well, it boils down to two completely different ways of working. On one side, you've got what we'll call parallel juggling. This is what most of us do, right? We're trying to manage 10 goals, 3 side hustles, 5 hobbies, all at the same time. But on the other side, you've got sequential finishing. And this is the way our brains are actually wired to work. You complete one important thing, and then you move to the next. We've all been sold this idea that juggling is the path to success. But honestly, the science tells a totally different story.
And that leads us to this central paradox of productivity. It sounds completely backward, I know, but that whole hustle culture idea of just doing more, it's actually the fastest way to become less effective. Think about it. Neurologically, your drive is a finite resource. If you spread it too thin, it just never gets the chance to build any real momentum on anything.
So let's just get this straight. This is not a discipline problem. It is a structural problem. You're trying to run your brain's high-performance engine like it's a parallel processor, but it was designed from the ground up to be a sequential one. You're basically trying to run the wrong operating system on your own hardware. It's never going to work right.
Let's look at the science for a second. Every single time you quickly check an email while you're trying to work on a big report, or you jump from a spreadsheet over to a team chat, you pay a price. Neuroscientists call it a cognitive switching penalty. And this isn't just some cute metaphor. We're talking about a real, measurable drop in your effective IQ and your processing speed. Your brain literally has to unload all the context from the first task and then burn a ton of energy to reload the entire context for the second one. This penalty is the hidden tax on your productivity that's draining you dry.
And all of this constant switching, it leads directly to what we call the high cost of fragmentation. It's this hidden neural tax that's sabotaging your best work before you even get started.
This right here is a trap that almost all of us fall into. It's the polymathematical delusion. It's this idea that we can somehow achieve mastery in a bunch of different things at once. Our career, learning to code, starting a podcast, getting fit, just by dabbling in all of them. But here's the thing. Mastery requires deep, consolidated effort. Trying to be everything to everyone just leaves your brain in a state of permanent exhaustion. And think about the lingering effect of all that task switching. Even after you've moved on to something new, part of your brain's processing power is still stuck on the last thing you were doing. This is called attention residue. What it really means is that you're never fully present, because a chunk of your cognitive bandwidth is still wrestling with the ghost of the last task.
And this is what it feels like. All that attention residue from dozens of unfinished tasks and open loops, it all builds up into what we can only describe as cognitive smog. It's that mental fog, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, where your brain is just spinning its wheels on background processes, leaving you with very little energy for actual deep work.
Let me put it another way. Imagine you sit down to do your most important work, right? You're going to write that masterpiece, design that killer product, solve that huge problem. You're ready to go, but your computer, your brain, is already running
50 background applications. Every single open loop, every untracked goal, every little worry. It's an app that's eating up your brain's precious RAM and processing power. The result is this constant state of executive fatigue that makes reaching your peak performance pretty much impossible. You are literally redlining your engine just to idle.
So the big question is, how do we fix this? It's time to stop just diagnosing the problem and start talking about the solution. We need a system, a process to clear out that smog and start closing those background apps. And that is the defragmentation protocol. Seriously, think of this protocol exactly like running a disk defragmenter on a slow computer. It doesn't magically add more memory or a faster processor. Nope. What it does is it takes all those fragmented little pieces of your drive, your attention, your energy, your focus, and it consolidates them. It pulls them together into one single, powerful, focused block. So the protocol itself has 3 distinct layers, and they're all designed to just maximize your neural output. First up is the drive audit, which is all about elimination. Second is the sequential sprint lock, which is about dedication. And third, we've got the cognitive offloading buffer, which is all about externalization. Let's break each one down.
Step 1, the drive audit. Okay, this is probably the most critical step, and it is not about organizing your to-do list. It's about what we call ruthless variable reduction. You list out every single project, every commitment you have, and then you eliminate all but the top 3. The whole goal here is to contract your intentions, which instantly frees up all that mental RAM you were wasting on background noise.
Okay, next up is the sequential sprint lock. Once you've got your core objectives, you assign your neural prime time, those few hours a day when you're at your sharpest, to only one of them. That's it. This singular focus is what allows your brain to finally break through all the friction and hit the flow threshold. That amazing state of deep immersion where your best work just happened.
And finally, step 3, the cognitive offloading buffer. Now, for all those other goals, the later stuff, you don't just ignore them, you store them in a trusted external system, a notebook, a document, whatever works for you. This sends a powerful signal to your brain that the data is safe and it doesn't need to keep running it in the background. This simple act is what stops that constant mental scanning that causes fragmentation in the first place.
You see, the whole point of this protocol is a complete transformation. You are consciously re-engineering your own cognitive state. You're shifting from being a mile-wide, inch-deep lake of scattered awareness into a focused, high-pressure cutting jet. And that jet can achieve more in a single hour than most people do in an entire week of fragmented hustle.
So now that we have the framework, let's just quickly look at the neurobiology that makes this thing so dang effective. Because really understanding why this works is the key to making it a permanent upgrade to your personal operating system.
Here's why this protocol just works. It lines up perfectly with your brain's natural reward system. There's this thing called the winner effect, and research shows that when you focus on and actually achieve a single, meaningful goal, your brain releases a sustained flood of dopamine. Now, that dopamine doesn't just feel good, it actively rewires your brain. It increases your future motivation, your drive, and your willingness to take on the next big challenge. Sequential finishing literally creates a powerful upward spiral of momentum.
So how can you apply this right now, today? Here are 3 concrete actions. First, do a drive purge. That's the audit we just talked about. List everything, pick your top 3, and put the rest in a vault that you only look at once a month. Second, execute a deep dive monotask. For the first 2 to 4 hours of your day, only one goal exists. No email, no notifications, 0 exceptions. And finally, use a shutdown ritual. At the end of that work sprint, write down the very next small action you'll take tomorrow. That lets your brain close the loop so it can truly, fully disengage.
And let's be crystal clear about the mindset here. This is a total reframe of what productivity even means. You are not doing less by cutting things from your list. You are achieving deeper. You're trading the illusion of being broad for the reality of being deep and achieving mastery. It's a strategic choice to stop doing what doesn't matter so you can become absolutely unstoppable at what does.
Okay, let's bring this all home. The ultimate takeaway is this: your drive, your focus, it's a finite resource. Every single choice you make to divide your attention is a choice to dilute your impact. The goal isn't to do more things, it's to master a system that makes focus feel effortless. And this is the final, hard-hitting truth that we all have to face. This modern obsession with doing everything is a trap. It is the most common, the most celebrated, and frankly, the most certain path to achieving absolutely nothing of significance. Real productivity isn't about how much you can juggle. It's about how much you can finish.
So, here is your call to action. Don't just listen to this, apply it. Your challenge for today is to perform one drive audit. Seriously, take 15 minutes, list out everything that's on your mind, circle your top 3 priorities, and move everything else into a document you label the vault. Just feel that immediate release of cognitive pressure. It's incredible. Just remember this: once you stop fighting your brain's fundamental design and you start working with its sequential, high-resolution nature, your output becomes an unstoppable force. Stop juggling, start finishing. Consolidate to dominate.